I apologize. I should have gave you guys some more time. I didn't even pull up my DK lineup yet, so I'll have to present that on the screen. But I got everything ready. So I guess you guys get to see some behind the scenes footage tonight. But guys, what I wanted to do tonight was really focus on like the players we like, because we're at that point in the year where like we already know the process now, and if I'm sorry, but if you don't have a process or have a validation or reason for building, you're probably doing it wrong. And that doesn't mean we can't experiment with different ideas or different blocks, different correlations. But like at this point, I feel like you've either graduated to the point where you're no longer just like putting names on your spreadsheet. I hope that you have a reason for putting those names there. So I want to welcome in Donnie, welcome in Gov. I think this will be a really energetic show, but a different type of show, and I'm excited for it. Guys, what are you excited for? Is there anything you want to make sure you get off your chest? Tell the people.
I'm so upset that CMC is gone.
The one thing the Panthers had. I guess DJ Moore's still there, at least for a week.
Oh, God, he's going to Odell Beckham revolt until we trade him to Rodgers. I know this.
I don't know if you know, Logan, but you're on a different screen than you usually are.
Oh well. Damn. Yeah, I think I can get that. That's about the only thing I can get off my chest. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's move on to Sunday. Let's go forward. Forward with the team. Forward with the Panthers. Forward with everything.
Yeah, I'm still on.
The Panthers are going anywhere forward.
Yeah. We are a team in rebuild. 5-year plan in motion. We have many picks over the next 2 years.
Well, speaking of which, what is the best value to you guys on the slate? For me, it's Greg Dotage. I love that.
Like there are a lot of good value tight ends. Like
we also have the familiar face with Waller being out. We have Foster Moreau. But I feel like Foster is not like for sure guy. You know what you're getting with him. You probably have more touchdown upside. Dotage has the chance to like break the slate. He reminds me athletically of a Kyle Pitts type. Like what he did at UCLA was really impressive. The way he would break tackles and his athletic prowess. Obviously, having a backup quarterback. It's not Russell, so you don't have that security. But I actually think that lends itself more advantageous to the tight end. Don, you have any thoughts? Just football sense? Well, go use some more thoughts.
I was just going to say, I think that the Broncos quarterback Rippon, I don't know what he's priced at. I'm assuming it's close to the minimum. Might not be a bad look there to pair with some of their tight end or a receiver.
Well, let me just pull. I'll spoil the
5K.
He's already in my
line. Same as Taylor Heineke, who is also starting against Green Bay, and the same as Davis Mills of Houston starting against Las Vegas. Now, I honestly would probably play Davis Mills in that price range.
No. Proof's in the pudding. Not yet. I thought I had it proven for you, but I have so many lines. Right there's my Rippon lineup. Rippon, Hall, Walker, Adams, Allen, Judy, Greg, Pierce, Lions defense.
It's not bad. I like the Adams Pierce mini stack. That's amazing correlation. I might have to try to fit that in somewhere into my builds. Like that's a really nice lineup. If Rippon goes off, like you're saying that Rippon's going to have a good game, and it's going to be downfield pass to Judy and hitting his tight end. You're saying Adams is Adams, and he's going to be one of the best wide receivers on the slate against Houston with Vegas coming off the bye. You say Pierce is a good up-and-coming running back, and so him and the bring back Works good. You're eating some chalk with Kenneth Walker against the Chargers. You're giving yourself a bring back to help with ownership and correlation by going with Keenan Allen. And then, of course, Breece Hall, a great play. I honestly, my personal thought is, after what you said earlier, I think the Jets defense is still the greatest value. I don't care if they're the highest owned defense on the slate. But, I know you wouldn't do that against your team. But I do think you could get a different defense than the Lions. But you also have money. You could play any defense 3K or down in this lineup. And I think that would be great. This with any other defense is a really good lineup. Really, really nicely built. As much as I'm not going to play Rippin myself, this is a good Rippin lineup. This is
my other defense.
See, and I think the Panthers are underrated at defense. I think this is going to be a slog of a game with Tampa. Tampa literally just lost to Pittsburgh. They could totally have a 19-13 game with PJ Walker.
Not only do I like this defense, I like the talent of this defense, and it matches up very well to what Brady does. So Brady likes to throw in the slot. Well, guess who likes to play slot receiver above all the other corners in the league that you consider up and coming and good and has a bright future? Horn might be one of the best natural slot corners. I mean, we see the marquee corners go into the slot like a Sertan or why am I blanking on his name? Ramsey. We'll see them travel into the slot, even Lattimore. I think Horn's just naturally a slot guy, and that's already where he wants to be targeted anyways. I mean, I think Rob Gronkowski didn't come back. Now you're without Cameron Bray. We might play Otten because he's so cheap on DraftKings, but don't act like he's a good tight end. I don't like a lot of this Bucs offense in a vacuum. I think a lot of this Bucs team is based on legacy. Would you agree with that from a football sense, Sonny?
I don't. I still think Brady's a good quarterback. I know Mike Evans is a good receiver. The offensive line isn't where you'd like it to be, and the tight end room is looking ugly, but that's overall the team mostly is fine.
Yeah.
I think it's a coaching issue right now that they need to figure out, trying to fix this whole coaching staff together now that Bruce Arians isn't there. It's there's just something, the lack of aggression in this offense almost.
Well, I promised to try something new today where we just try to hit on all the interesting news and topics, and we kind of went more serious and matter of fact and just fast paced tonight to see what you guys enjoy. So if you guys got a comment, like and subscribe. Of course, we'll get to anything you guys got, whether it be trades and stuff like that. I think next week I'm setting up an Ask Me Anything segment, so we're going to try to get some viewer questions. But for the time, we're just hitting on some of the bigger headlines. And we can even talk about some NBA stuff too as we go on throughout the year. But right now, I just figure we'll hit on some NBA topics, rapid fire style. Gov, I know you, for example, don't necessarily buy into narratives. So I think this would be a perfect question to ask you because it's you'll give me an honest assessment, especially. Mike Evans was super pissed, I guess, after the game because he was lined up against the slaughter, the small corner from the Steelers, and was basically I'm 6'6". The Steelers lined me up with a practice squad guy who's never started before. I had a 5-inch reach advantage. He went MMA on the guy. And it was just I have a 5-inch reach advantage, and Tom Brady didn't throw me the ball enough. I love Tom, but come on, I've never not had 1,000 yards. Let me eat. So do you buy into the squeaky wheel narrative at all? Like, I know you're not normally a narrative guy.
I mean, I don't know if I buy into it, but like I don't trust the Bucks offense, to be honest. I think this is clearly showing like they may, because it's Brady, they may very well get it turned around by the end of the year, but it's clearly showing that it's not some kind of, even with everything healthy, they're not some well-oiled machine right now. Because even with Evans, Godwin, and Lenny, which should be enough, even without Gronk, it's like, is he really missing that big target tight end? Does Brady need every little piece of the offense to be really good, and then he can just orchestrate it perfectly?
Yeah, I can't imagine what the problem is. The talent is, I know they've had a lot of injury stuff.
The offensive line got injured again. Isn't Worst out again this week?
I believe so.
Yeah, but here's
So
the
like,
thing.
yeah, the offensive line's worse, but still, like Brady
He's
always
always
been a quick guy. He's like quick release,
under 3 seconds.
make the decision. Yeah. So like, even with that, he should know how to help get his protection, run the ball, stuff like that, so that he can get those 3-second plays.
But I remember that was one of the reasons he was so liberated with the Buccaneers last year, was that he was like, I forget how he phrased it, but he basically said the polar opposite to the point we just made, where it's like Tom Brady's historically known for getting the ball out quick. He basically said, like in a very professional, well thought out way, that he loved being able to hold the ball longer because he could hit Mike Evans, down the middle, and he really wanted to prove that he was more than just a 40-year-old quarterback and had a strong arm, and it was more the Patriots system. So I'm not saying that Tom Brady can't go back to that like quick gun, offense. It's just like I mean, obviously I wouldn't play the Panthers defense if they were like 3,000. Like, I'm not getting crazy here. I just don't like that the Bucks team. In fact, if you had named all the contenders going into the season and then like asked me now which one I think is most real, I think the Bucks are the most likely of the like perceived good teams to miss the playoffs.
I think it would be the Rams that have just like. I think the Rams are more concerning than the Bucks, personally.
I respect that, Donnie, but the reason I say that's probably not true is because I think people want to play for Sean McVay and Stafford. Like, those guys are liked. And that's funny because we mentioned narratives and how Gov doesn't typically decide off a narrative. I'm a very big narrative guy, and I don't think people really care that much about Todd Bowles. I think people would go play for Bruce Arians, but people saw him suck with the Jets and kind of like self-implode. Said some weird comments a couple weeks ago with the Bucks. So like, what I'm saying to you is I think of all the free agents, people are more likely to. I mean, we saw Deshaun Jackson come out and play for the Ravens, and I think that's largely due to the respect that Harbaugh has with Jackson. And don't tell me that Tom Brady wasn't saying, "Hey, Deshaun Jackson might yell help us here."
Yeah, but I think that Deshaun Jackson would have never went to the Bucks because of how he left the first time, even if Brady's there.
Correct. I mean, they do have Julio Jones. I think it's funny because I don't necessarily. I probably would agree with Gov because I'm pretty sure he probably just got sick in his mouth there. And I mentioned Julio Jones because somebody big about Julio Stan I used to be. I'm not saying he's that guy anymore, but in terms of a leadership type thing, I think he's about the only like difference maker that could like stand up to Tom Brady and was like, "Hey, I've been to Super Bowls. I've been to the big moments. Let's dance."
Okay, but he lost to Tom in the Super Bowl. So
no, but I'm saying like of all the guys that are like difference makers that can come back, like nobody in the offensive line is gonna come back and generate Tom Brady's respect or to like really motivate the team.
I think Tom respects Mike Evans more than he respects Julio.
That would be a mistake.
I don't know.
To me, that would be a mistake. Now, let's do this though. Why don't you tell me some players that the value play you like this week? Because I do have an interesting kind of reverse engineered idea that I think we could do some rapid fire on and get some interesting feedback. But why don't we finish the conversation on value?
Well, my value is sort of twofold. Like, both guys are 4K and under. So technically they're values, right?
Mhm.
But one of them's a tight end, and a 4K tight end with all the $2,500 value tight ends isn't a super value. But with Palmer out and not much going on, not sure how much I can trust Keenan, I really like DeAndre Carter and Gerald Everett for Chargers as value plays.
By the way, Parham is also up.
Yeah. That's why like I really like Everett this week. Like I could if Keenan Allen is out, I might have a Herbert, Carter, Everett double stack. Just fade Eckler and Mike Williams.
If Allen is out, I will have a Herbert lineup because that guy loves Carter and Carter's too cheap.
He also loves Everett, and they use Everett like a wide receiver, and he is like, I'll be if I can play Carter at 37, I can play now the 4K tight end, and I still technically have value.
Now I'm going to come right back to you, Go, because I know you had a follow up and you had some other pieces, but I do want to mention just to prove that this isn't like a player take. This is more of a process play. It looks like Josh Reynolds might sit for the Lions, and that's obviously one of Jared Goff's preferred targets. A good pivot similar to that would be T.J. Hawkinson, who everyone knows about St. Brown. If you're not playing St. Brown at this price, you don't believe in him for your build, that's fine. But like of the cheap guys, if it's not Reynolds, it's got to be Hawkinson for that kind of same reason. It's like, okay, you're going to take away one of his trusted targets, just like Herbert with Allen. You know, you got to kind of do some deep dive in there. I think maybe even a 2 tight end lineup wouldn't be a terrible idea this week. What else you got for us, Joe, in terms of value or value ideas?
Let's see. Like, I really like the Jets defense against Ripon, but they're going to be the chalkiest defense. Cash defense on the week, all of that. Now, to be honest, like I'm really liking a lot of this Chargers-Seattle game. Like, and Kenneth Walker is going to be chalky. Tyler Lockett might end up being chalky if he seems healthy first on Sunday morning. So, like, playing Herbert and the cheap guys on the other side is a way to get different and a way to be able to play in the chalky Kenneth Walker. But there was another bit of news with that team along with Joshua Palmer being out with his concussion. Mm-hmm. And that was them putting Joshua Kelly on the IR. And so that opens up Sony Michel as a value running back.
Funny enough, I think that might open up Spiller.
Spiller. I was going to say, I knew you were going to say Spiller. I can't trust the rookie on his first game to just do good things. But, like, if he does well, he might be able to take that backup role to Eckler before the end of the year.
Not to play him. I think at this point, if you ran a league, I mean, we always see it where people will leave
deep league, dynasty league. I might grab Spiller if he's available. If someone doesn't already have him stashed. And if you have him stashed, you might be doing good.
Yeah, I think you should. I think you should, because if something happened to Eckler, he is the 1-for-1. It wouldn't be Sony Michel. Sony Michel's the Thunder to Eckler's lightning. The 1-for-1 trade-off would be Spiller. That's my only point. Donnie, now that you've had some DraftKings or fantasy experience playing with me and Gov, what's the one mistake that you think we make as daily fantasy players, or that we pay too much attention to on a weekly basis?
I haven't noticed any mistakes. I mean, you guys have built your processes over a long period of time.
Right.
you trust what you're doing to at least make some sort of profit.
Okay, so what do you like about the process that you've learned then? Like, what is it about daily that you enjoy that like you might have gained from that doesn't necessarily correlate 100% to fantasy points? It's okay if you don't got an answer.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer. I'm just enjoying, sitting there going through a lineup, like having different players to watch through every week instead of like, a normal fantasy league where you're watching the same guys every week.
Well, like for example, for me, it's like once I started to correlate my lineups, I started realizing correlation in life really matters, right? So I started eating healthier, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to correlate that with going to the gym. Now, am I a swole guy? Am I a guy that's ever going to be able to lift 1,000 pounds? Probably not. But I start eating right. Then I go to the gym. Then I meet people, I got an old lady who waves at me every day like she wants to date me like a songbird. So like I get that interaction, through daily, correlating the lineups and talking strategy with you guys, we formed some real friendships. Stuff like that starts to really happen. And it's funny how these building blocks will start to happen. And so we stop thinking about players just as players, and we start thinking about like, oh, Allen's out. Well, that means that's good for Herbert and Carter. That's good for this team and bad for that team. What's like the number one correlated thing, good or bad, this week that you're finding? I got one if you don't.
What's yours? So like because I honestly haven't looked a lot outside of the base numbers. Well, and I know what I want to build with. But like you saw earlier in the show, I saw your lineup. I'm like, ooh, Pierce Adams. How can I fit Pierce Adams? So I might be playing around with that tonight. So like I'm not sure if I have one right now. Okay, I mean, I know what my gut is and my initial one is. And it's very, very chalky. So it's like, okay, that's of course my first one because it's probably going to be the chalkiest thing that everyone does.
Right.
And that is Breece Hall with the Jets defense. But again, I'm really liking the Jets defense. I'm insane on the Jets defense right now, I think.
Okay.
So like I'm probably going to die on that hill, but I'm trying to figure something else out.
Donnie, I want to ask you before I answer the question, just to see like how much our different mindsets in football change from fantasy to reality. Why do you think the number one reason I would play Adams in this lineup is?
Just for the targets. That sorry, not Adams. That Carr is going to want to get Adams the ball. I mean, also he's kind of had a couple weeks where Diggs has gone off, and other receivers' names have been at the top. Cup.
Okay, let me give you another hint. We talked about correlation. Why do I think Adams is such a good correlation play this week?
I don't know.
Because I could be totally wrong. And that's what's cool is no matter what happens, I'll either be eating high off the hog with my profits, or I can eat crow. Crow tastes pretty good. I'm a country boy. I'll eat the crow. You guys know that. Mondays, me and Gov show up and we do review shows. I'll eat the crow. But I won't show up any cameramen, though, Adams. But here's the thing. I like this because, Gov, everyone is playing Josh Jacobs. And what is the best way to get off of chalk? Do things that people are not doing. And first of all, I think Adams is more talented. We're playing on a site that favors PPR. Jacobs has gotten more pass work recently in the recent years with McDaniels, Josh McDaniels, the head coach, but is not really known for his passing prowess. And Adams, to Donnie's point, so Donnie was, you were swimming upstream a little bit, Donnie. I like the target, but I'm starting to think about things in that way as well. Like, if everyone's doing this, how do I find equal or semi-equal talent to do the same thing, because you know people won't be building an Adams Jacobs lineup that often. Like I couldn't imagine that, because then you're playing Carr, but then Hunter Renfrow is out this week, and then Waller's out this week. So it's like I don't know if attacking this game in that way makes sense, and that's why I brought it back with. I think you guys talked a lot about the Jets and Brees Hall, and I like it, but you guys are missing that Pierce is a really good play this week too, and he's not in this lineup, but I do have him in another lineup where I have Adams. I love Pierce.
I think
So-
Pierce is an amazing play, honestly.
And he plays for a very traditional coach who wants to run the ball, and I honestly I think Pierce is the rookie of the year if it ended today. I really do. I think he's the front runner. I'm not saying he will win it because he plays for the Houston Texans, which I do think matters. But I do think in the mainstream media's eyes, the narratives do matter. But that's I guess why analytic people, us fantasy people do so well because we watch every second of every game. So, Gov, now that you kind of heard mine, is there any that are coming to mind, like building blocks, different correlations, different mindsets that we should be aware of this week?
I do think that a lot of the chalk is cycling through these mid 6K running backs right now. I'll say that. So getting different there. I'm trying to figure out what do I want to do to get different because I kind of want to pay up. I kind of want to go to Chubb. I kind of want to go to Henry. Maybe even Jonathan Taylor. But then again, I also really like going down to like a Sony Michel or even playing JD McKissick and going even cheaper than like the Jacobs and the Brees Hall and the Damon Pierce range and Kenneth Walker at 5,800. Like I kind of want to go even cheaper than like it's either go even cheaper or go more expensive because the other plays around them, like Jamal Williams, if Swift is out, is okay. Edwards-Helaire against San Francisco, So I'm just like not sure what to do in that range. Like Melvin Gordon, Zeke, Jeff Wilson Jr. looked good until they traded for CMC. Like I guess the only other one in that mid to 5, like 55 to 65 range would be Brian Robinson at 5,500. Green Bay has been crappy against running backs. Green Bay's been really crappy against running backs. He was clearly given all of the carries, not really any targets, but like all of the carries in his game back. So like I could see pivoting to Brian Robinson at 5,500. That is not a bad move.
Yeah, you spoiled all my running backs. So my running backs this week, I'll just name them: Robinson, Swift, because I like a talented guy coming off an injury, because we oftentimes forget about those guys. So it's not just you guys know I'm a Lions homer. So anytime I mention Lions homer, I get worried that you guys are concerned with my bias, which I admit there is some bias. But that is a kind of a tiebreaker coin flip decision for me. But what I like guys coming, so Allen, guys coming off an injury is very, or like when we get a surprising injury, like Russell is out this week, so Rippon is playing, and so I like Jerry Jeudy this week. Maybe Rippon has a better relationship with Jeudy than, because obviously Wilson I think favored Sutton as his like go-to.
All right.
Is there any other like must-haves this week? Just looking at the schedules, looking at like what do you think is going to happen from a predictive standpoint?
Not really. This is the first week where I've just kind of stumped on, who would. I think if you wanted to pay up for running backs, the best running back to go with is going to be Derrick Henry. But But yeah, there's not any must-haves, I don't think, this week.
Yeah. See, I think everyone's going to be chasing tail this week, and they're going to play Pittman. And that's kind of where I was on it with the Adams Jacob thing. If I was playing any cold, it would be Jonathan Taylor. I think everyone's going to chase that Pittman game. They're going to say, well, he gets like 13 targets and he gets like 10 yards a pop. And, but I think Taylor would be the play if I was playing any Colts. No, I'm not, but.
I think this would be a good time to transition to our spread picks from last week and our first pick of the week, at least.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
All right. So,
keep them updated.
Our lock of our week, we lost. We picked the Jags last week. The Jags money line. I can't remember the score of that game, but Logan had the Saints at +3 and the Steelers at +6.5, which gave him was that 2-0? I think he's up to 4-6 for this week. Gov had the Dolphins +3.5 and Baltimore -5.5. Which
My God, that Baltimore game. Oh.
Yeah, Baltimore every week, man. Every week lately. Which brings Gov down to 4-5-1, only half a game ahead of Logan. And I had the Jets +7.5 and the Bucks -6.5, which was 1-1, which brought me up to 8-2.
You guys know me as a disabled individual. If you guys don't know, I am disabled. So speed has never been my thing, but I'm a grinder. And so I don't mind starting off slow and having my convictions. I think over time, my process on how I do this will pay off. I won't finish last. That's kind of my theory on this. But one of us will have to finish last a minute. We're obviously confident. But I honestly, I never pick trying to catch up. I just pick the best game of the week for me. Go. Why don't you start? I don't think you've started in a while. Why don't you give us your your best play of the week?
Okay. Well, my favorite game of the week right now is the Falcons plus. I have it at 7. I think it's 6.5. It opened at 10, but I have it at. Is it 7 or 6.5?
Yeah, we got to talk about that, Gov. That's a great point. They have not failed this season at all. I believe they are 6-0 on the spread line.
They are, and I really think this Falcons team is very, very underrated. They've fought. I mean,
they do not quit. They have not given up in these games, and they are like, as much as people don't like Arthur Smith and everything he's doing with his skill players, the team is competitive, I guess would be like. They're not winning, but they're not getting blown out.
Yeah, no.
So I think plus a touchdown, like 6.5. I'll take the Falcons plus 6.5. There's the number I got.
All right. I really like the Falcons. You can tell Marcus Mariota kind of feels like he's fighting for his career at this point.
He is.
So, I always, having that pressure on him has been really good, and I think the pieces on that Falcons team as well. Sadly, we don't get to see them with Calvin Ridley. They'd look a lot better with Calvin Ridley, obviously, but. Man, this Falcons team is very interesting to watch.
Well, I love Marcus Mariota. I think the only reason he would get benched is just because they want to see what they got in the rookie. If they thought they had a top 5 or a top 10 pick, just because there's so much good quarterback scouting coming out of the draft. I hope to get my friend Ryan back on the podcast, who watches a lot more college at some point, and hopefully we'll do a college breakdown as the draft approaches. But this year's class of quarterbacks is probably one of the more talented ones we've seen in the last couple of years. So I think you got to know. But I'm not going to lie to you. The Falcons might actually be competitive for like a playoff seeding, kind of like the NBA where it's like that sneaky team that gets into the playing game and they become a wild card kind of fun story. Because I like Marcus Mariota a lot. And what I like most about what Arthur Smith is doing, although I disagree with his utilization of Kyle Pitts, is he knows he loves to run the ball, and they're running the ball, but they're doing so in a very creative way. They're like pulling guards into tackles. They're using like, I think at one time they used like basically 3 different fullbacks or like just like weird running formations and different algorithms of players and alignments. It's been really fascinating speaking to a guy that knows what he wants to do and is doing it his way. And anytime you have a coach like that, I have to admire that quality. I like that pick a lot. So, Donnie, do you have a pick? I'll go last.
Yeah, my pick this week is going to be the Titans at I have it at -2.5. I just don't like the Colts, especially coming off a game like that. I don't think the Colts are very good, which is not what I thought at the start of the season. But they had one good game, and they're kind of living off of that. They've been sloppy all year. I don't think Matt Ryan really has much in the tank. And the Titans always will come out and fight. I think they can easily win by a field goal. They'll probably win by more than that.
Yeah. I'm taking the Lions this week, and this is why. I think the Lions are probably the most desperate team to prove they belong than anyone left in the NFL right now. Their losses have been bad, but their losses have not proven to be as bad as they once were thought to be. We lost to the Eagles in week 1. Obviously, that's a good quality loss now. People didn't realize that they'd be undefeated at this point. We lost to a Bill Belichick-led defense because really that offense did nothing. It was just Jared Goff caved into the defense on the road, which Jared Goff never plays good at. You got the Lions back at home. You got the Cowboys coming off an emotional loss that I think they scapegoated Cooper Rush on, to be honest with you. But there was a lot I didn't like about that team. I think that team relied a lot on their NASCARs, and there's a lot of inefficiencies on defense on that team. That Parsons and Lawrence hide because of the pass rush, but I don't like that defense in its totality. I really don't. And people don't realize the Lions still have one of the best attacking offenses. We would defer. I'm not saying it's a route. Give me the point, but I like the Lions this week.
What's the points out exactly?
I don't want to be biased because I got it early this week, but I saw 6.5. Is that not correct?
I do not have it up. Do you have it up?
Yeah. Let's see.
I believe I got it at 6.5, but
I see 6.5. Yes.
So I wasn't sure because sometimes the line will move.
Nope. Yep. I see 6.5 for the game.
Why don't we just name our other team if you guys got it, and then we can move on to like building a lineup because I have heard people love like when the 3 of us build a lineup, and then we'll get on here.
Yep, that sounds good.
All right.
Your game.
All right. Let's see. So my second game of the week.
Don't steal mine, please.
I'll try not to, but when it comes to betting, I know I'm not going to take it because I'm going to be the homer. Give me my Panthers.
You want
Okay.
I see them at like is it plus 13?
I've seen plus 13.5.
Yeah. They cover. Yeah. Tampa Bay ain't. Yeah, they're going to cover.
You know what's funny?
Give me my Panthers.
We're all being homers this week because I'm taking my Patriots at -7.5. So, that's the first time we've all done this.
Yeah. It's true, but it's a homer week. It's week 7.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, there's nothing wrong with some home cooking, unless your mom or dad can't cook. And then but hell, maybe the three of us have some good cooking parents. I'll tell you what. So I like some home cooking. I don't know about you guys, but
Oh, I do too.
okay. So I'm gonna pick against my division now, and go ahead, Danny. Go ahead.
Mean, you gotta keep your money where your mouth is. That's what you're doing.
No, I did it already. I can prove it to you. Oh, Donnie's talking about last week. I said it. I am betting against Aaron Rodgers every week of the season, and you guys can track it. I'll be as transparent as possible. I'm betting against Aaron Rodgers. I started this last week. Every time he is their favorite to win, I'm betting against him. I think Aaron Rodgers is cooked, and it's sad because for a long time I thought Aaron Rodgers was one way, and I've actually come to respect a lot of his opinions. He started doing a lot more media recently. He did a podcast recently on the Joe Rogan podcast where he totally just thrashed the NFL's drug policy, which I thought was a very honest and open conversation. It earned me a lot of Aaron Rodgers respect. But the talent's no longer there, guys. I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers specifically. He's not the quarterback. In fact, I would rather have Russell Wilson right now than Aaron Rodgers. Again, I talked about it with my Cowboys pick. I think everyone's scapegoating the wide receivers on that team. Romeo Doubs and Lazard, although he was hurt in the beginning, Tunyon, that team's not great, but I think Aaron Rodgers has to own a lot more of this mantle than he's currently owning. I like the Washington D-line. They're getting healthier too. Chase is getting closer to coming back. Robinson, they're going to run the ball with Robinson. Robinson's going to be a household name, I think, by the end of the season. It's not just the kneecap killer of Dan Campbell taglines that we see with Robinson was shot, and that comeback story you sometimes see with draft stories. Robinson's an actual NFL player, and I think by season's end we're going to realize how good of a pick that was.
What's that points out for the Commanders?
I don't care.
I saw it at +4, +4.5.
+4 it isn't.
All right.
It's +4.5. Yep.
So yeah, let's get to this lineup.
All right.
Gov's got to make one more pick, right?
I've made 2. You made 2.
I made 2.
Donnie made 2.
See, I told you.
So I guess we're missing our consensus lock of the week, really.
Oh yeah, that's what I knew.
That's what we're missing. That's what we're missing. But I've been hyping it up this whole show so far, so I'll let you guys go through it.
Logan, you want to do the honors and announce it this time?
We don't even got to go. I mean, we went through so much. I will say, on a conviction standpoint, this is the fastest we've ever agreed to something, I think, since doing the show together. We are taking the Jets.
Yeah, Jets are -1.5. I saw.
They opened as the underdog when Russ was playing, so it's like I
would have taken them at the underdog.
I was about to say I was seeing Jets +1 until Russ was ruled out today. It's like,
yeah,
wow.
No.
I would have taken them if Russ was playing. That was my game.
Yeah, all week I would have been playing that, and I would have been taking +1s all week. Yeah.
Can we be honest about something? Because me and Gov both know a big Denver Broncos fan, one of our favorite guys in our community, Jay. I honestly think, I've told Jay this, I honestly think Rippon is a very valuable quarterback to have. I think he has a lot of upside. I think at this point he's better than Russell. And although they're going to lose, this is a fun DFS kind of talk about sloppy but fun games to watch. I think this game's going to surprise a lot of people. This game's going to have some scoring. that's going to transition us right into this lineup build. Did you guys have your 3 pillars this week?
Okay. Before that, I just want to say, out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks we've done this, the Jets have been picked by at least one of us 5 of the weeks. We have been on this Jets team all year long.
And that's why it was just a consensus early in the week. We knew. We probably could have given this to you guys on Monday, but we didn't want to give it to you then.
We could have. We would not have had a Monday Night Wars back in the 90s, Vince McMahon style. This one would have been easily agreed upon. In fact, like I said,
I sent a message this morning saying, "Hey, the Jets are a lock of the week. Russ is out," and nobody argued it. I mean, this Jets team is so fun.
Look, I got the receipts. I got the Jets to win 5.5 games at plus 105 before the season started. That's a lot. So, yeah, I probably should have put more than $1 on it, but it wasn't just a sprinkle for me at the time. Like, I had some conviction that this team would be good, and I'm even convicted on reasons that people. I like this team for reasons that people don't. I actually think Zach Wilson's a good quarterback. Well, a lot of people were like Brees Hall and the defense. I think Wilson by season's end will prove to be a good quarterback. So I'm all over this Jets team. It's not even just like one element of that team. But let's build this lineup with some of our pillars. What do you guys want the pillars to be?
I want to pick our quarterback first this week since we did that last week.
Okay.
And build off from there.
Okay, so start with our stack.
Okay.
I like that idea as pillar 1. I think pillar 2 should be making sure we get our best value play in. And as opposed to like the last few weeks where it's like, well, who's our favorite dude? Top guy, Diggs, jam him in. Well, Diggs ain't there. So after we get our stack, let's get our favorite value play in as our second pillar.
Okay.
And what's your third? What would be the third pillar for you?
My third pillar is I want all of us to name a player I want us to name a player we all 3 of us like, and then we can't pick that player. We have to, not that we can't pick the player, he could obviously already be in the lineup, but for like one of the last picks, what I want to do is say you like Jerry Jeudy this week. I don't want to take Jeudy then. I want to take someone right around that price just to see what it would do for like making us more contrarian, because sometimes I think like that might be an interesting way to be more contrarian.
All right. Well, I have my player that I like already in mind. So I like Amon-Ra.
So we can't play Amon-Ra then, and we have to play someone around his price. I'm gonna say within like $500, up or down.
We'll see when we get there. I don't know the prices.
I mean, my favorite play would be Brees Hall. So like, okay, so we got to try to either fit a running back plus or minus 500 from him. Okay.
I think it will be easy because I think
that's basically that range of guys that's cash and chalky too. So
right.
Like, it's weird, but it's fine. Like that's my favorite. That's why I'm really torn. Do I go high or low? Because I really want to play around in that range.
And I would love a guy like Robinson. I mean, if we had to switch from your whole thing, it's like we could go Robinson, you could go Pierce. I think like that's a fun, like easy. The guy that I think's a good value, but like we should stay away from him would be Josh Jacobs.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
Good value, and like, see, the idea is not to say like these guys are bad or good. It's like we're building tournament lineups, and so basically my pillar was, hey, this guy's going to be chalky. We think he's good, but we got to get a bit different.
Yep.
All right. Do we want to name a quarterback that we like? I see one that I like here, and I
I'll put
feel
him
like, all right, you like Herbert. I
actually like Herbert too, but who do you like, Donnie?
I had a quarterback in the same division in a game that I think we can get a lot of cheap pieces as well as a star to stack with, and that's Derek Carr.
Oh, that was not what I thought you were gonna say. Oh God.
I don't like that reaction.
How are we gonna?
When you made that description, I totally thought you were about to say Patrick Mahomes.
I thought you were
I
gonna
can
say.
get cheap pieces around him plus Kelsey
No.
in the same division. Ooh.
I thought he was gonna steal my favorite play. My favorite value play, Brett Rippon, who I actually think is the most talented quarterback on the Broncos roster. That's what I thought you were gonna say. How do we break this tie, though?
I actually don't mind. I don't mind starting with Carr because that should immediately get us off of Jacob's chalk.
I was just gonna say, can we go narrative? His name is Carr. We're talking about starting with quarterback first. It makes sense. You got to start the car. We're gonna start the car this week. Start your engine. We're going Carr.
All right.
It's
so
funny
this is a Derek Carr. Okay. So next thing, I want to immediately get at least his single stack and his bring back.
The bring back has got to be Pierce.
So let's put in Pierce and Adams with this right now.
Okay, but I'm putting this one in.
I don't mind Foster Moreau.
That's fine.
Double.
Yeah,
I don't mind like him, Mac Hollins, Renfro. I think they're all fine choices as the double. So like, let's get in Adams and let's get in Pierce. I have no problem starting this lineup like this.
And then Pierce makes sense because we got to fade Hall. So I think Pierce.
Now it is still going to be kind of chalky because Moreau is one of the three value tight ends with him, K-Dot, and Dolphich.
But that speaks to smartness. I was listening to Jam the Win, and he was saying, like, if people did this more, Donnie, where they built with like a block theory, they would realize that you can eat chalk when you think about things as a block because Foster may be, let's say,
a little bit chalky, but Adams will not be. Carr is not going to be one of the top quarterbacks, so he won't be. And Pierce is in that chalky range of running back. So like Moreau and Pierce might be chalky, but not as many people are going to have Moreau and Pierce in Derek Carr Adams double stacks.
Right. Like Donnie, if I said here's $2, right? How many dollars do you have?
What did you say?
If I said here's $2, how many dollars do you have?
2.
Right. But I think a lot of people do that though in DFS. They don't realize that things aren't as logical as they seem on the screen. You know, like some calculators will tell you logic. DFS lineups are a lot more emotional than I think we give credit for. And I think this is definitely a way to get different. Now, what is the next thing we got to do? So we can't play Jacobs, right? We wouldn't play Jacobs anyway.
Right. Nope. We can't play Breece Hall.
We
can't play Amon-Ra.
I just want to say it stinks we can't play Hall because we could have went Hall and the Jets defense in this lineup would be looking nice.
Yeah, that would be a nice thing. But again, we can't do that. So let's go with my pillar. So let's do the next thing. Let's get the best value that we think is on the board.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I've already told you my value wide receiver. Who do you think is your best value on the board? Knowing that we can't go with Dolchich or any of the other, we already have our cheap tight end. Who do you think is the best value?
Who's to say you can't?
I don't mind Chuba Hubbard.
I do. I don't want the backup.
Okay. If it's not him, at running
I'd be
back.
like, if you want to play a Panthers running back, I'm playing Foreman.
No, I'll tell you.
We're going to play a Panthers
we have seen Foreman go off. We've seen Foreman go off before.
Like I'm on DeAndre Carter and Sony Michel myself, but like, oh my God, he's actually under 5K. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I understand because he's been absolutely nothing, has no quarterback, and the offense shouldn't do crap. But
how about this? How about we consider a mini stack and go with a Sky Moore maybe and a 49ers running back, not Christian McCaffrey?
No.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think-
I was throwing something wild out there.
That's a little too wild.
No,
That's the way Galaxy Brain.
Yeah. Donnie, you got drunk. I would rather play Greg Dulcich than play Sky Moore in this lineup. Yeah, I'd rather do that. Here's another. What about Robinson? I love him this week.
I don't know.
See, he's solid. Again, like Green Bay, outside of the Tampa Bay game where somehow Tampa Bay only was able to run the ball for like 80 something yards. They've given up like 140 yards rushing every game.
Okay,
Not
but
just that.
I think Washington, who will, like they already showed they'll give him carries. I think he'll be able to run the ball.
I don't like that he doesn't get any receiving. Like he's not getting targets
it sucks
at all.
that McKissick is the receiving back. It sucks that that's McKissick's job.
I would
It's kind of like It's kind of like a lot of those mixed backfields. Like you have a runner and you have a pass catcher. They both can pass block, so they can be on the field at any point in time. But you sort of know what they're gonna do.
Hold on though, wasn't that a Carson Wentz thing? Wentz, I think, is known for not really throwing to running back. How do we know Robinson isn't gonna team up with Tyler Heineke?
But what is McKissick's? Go to McKissick for a second. I want to see what he's been given them.
McKissick's an old man.
I'm just curious as to what he's getting targets wise out of the backfield.
I don't know if I have to put the dots in the good.
Just put in McKissick.
He's right there. That. Okay. So yeah, he's getting targets.
He has been getting targets all this entire time. Like,
right, he's been.
I think that's the coaches.
Now this last week he didn't get a lot of anything, and they were up in that Chicago game where they never really needed to throw. These other games they needed to throw, so he got targets. It is possible that Brian Robinson could still get like 2 to 4 targets in the game where they actually need to run, where they actually need to move the offense. But I don't know.
I don't see a world where they'll need to move the offense, though. I don't think the Packers' offense is good enough to force them to go out of their comfort zone.
Which is why I think they'll just be running the ball the whole time, which is why I don't need, if I'm getting 20 touches, as much as I'd love the targets, I don't need them as much if they're not going to be there.
All right. Hold on. We can come back to this. So we obviously have a discussion there. Is there any like other positions that we're sold on that we are players, ideas, defenses, anything we're sold on that we have to get in our lineup? That way, maybe this decision will be easier once we can kind of like eliminate some things.
Okay,
I am fine just locking the Jets defense. I mean,
let's do this first, though.
I'm good with that.
Do we want to play 3 running backs or 4 receivers?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I don't see the value in 3 running backs this week.
I would say running backs this week because I like the passing upside of our running backs. I think Pierce is more of a pass catcher than he gets credit for.
Okay. What if we paid up at running back this week?
I'm going to pull up another running back that's
See, I kind of want to pay up at running back this week, but that's why I want to get our best value in. I could see doing Robinson and then going with a pay up running back as a third running back and then 2 more wide receivers.
I'm fine with it, Etienne.
Or even like Etienne getting the job.
I think Robinson's play if I had to put a guy in the lineup.
Again, I'm heavy on that Seattle Chargers game. So like I like Michelle or I like Carter. But Robinson is another value play I have. So
well, if you're high in that game, so am I. Let's just play Walker, who I think's a very talented running back.
That's fine, but now we need to find other pieces where we can get off chalk.
But that's fine too. Like if we play Walker, we could play my value guy Carter on the other side.
Sounds good. Yeah.
There's a $3,700 wide receiver that gives us touchdown potential.
Let's do this as an alternate. If Allen plays, who do we want to pivot to? Or do we not care?
I don't know if I care.
Yeah, I think it's fine because we know Allen's been, banged
He's
up.
been known to be a decoy first game back too.
Yeah.
So I could see again the fact Keenan Allen coming back, I don't think would change too much of how they would have used Carter and Palmer in that offense.
Let's
just
look at
Palmer being out, I think Carter's just going to get used.
Because I really, like I said earlier, I think it pairs with my spread pick. I think Derrick Henry's the running back to go with here.
I don't hate that. Big dog, D Hember, D Hober.
And here's
why, whatever you want to call it.
Here's why I like Henry. He has caught the most passes. He's on, I should say, not obviously the totality of a season, he's caught more. He's on pace to catch more passes than he's ever caught in his career.
So I'm fine going third running back, doing that. That leaves us 5,900 for a wide receiver. That's plenty to find a good wide receiver.
This is easy for me.
See, I don't know if I do that against our defense.
Okay, I get that.
I'm looking now in that range.
I don't know any of the prices, Logan. I'm going to need you to show me some.
I am looking at 5,700.
We can't afford them.
I know that. We have to adjust the defense slightly.
I do really like Amari Cooper against Baltimore this week. Like, I really do. How much do we have left? What, 50?
We have 59. We need to make up 200. What can we move to on defense?
I was about to say, it would probably be defense where we go down.
The Falcons. We can move to the Falcons, the Panthers.
You still have the C in there. You get the C.
The Seahawks. I'm trying to think of, because I always pay cheap, so I know all the cheap defenses.
So we need 2,400 and down.
The Lions.
Can't do Seahawks because we have a game. Well, I mean, we could do the Seahawks because we're technically correlating our defense. We're correlating our defense with our running back, and it doesn't matter if Carter gets he's cheap enough. I'm only need 18 points out of him. He could do that by going 5 for 80 and a touchdown.
I think the Seahawks have not been super great, but I think they have improved.
They have been consistent. They just had a big game against Arizona, but they haven't had at New Orleans, where both teams just had that shootout fest, was probably their worst game, but they still had 7 points in the game where it was 42 plus against Detroit. So
yeah,
Seattle,
I'm not gonna lie to you. We totally overthought ourselves when it came to defense. We played one of the chalkiest defenses. Whenever a defense is chalky, you probably should get off of them because it's just so much variance. And we got -1 points. And I think that lineup would have cashed for more had we had any other defense other than the Jags. So I like a defense that nobody else is on that's been consistent. They might not get us 20, but we know they're going to get us around 5.
Yeah. And at pure minimum salary, it's helping us get the guys we want. So now we can go Cooper. Who else is there? 6,300? It's Cooper or Sutton.
Terry McLaurin.
I do kind of like McLaurin, honestly.
TJ.
I don't know if I like F1. No, Kirk.
I like Johnson this week.
I don't hate Ayuk. Number one wide receivers against Kansas City are really, really they go off. So I could see Ayuk, but I kind of don't know how San Fran's going to run that game now.
I would stay off Judy.
Yeah, I'm not on Judy.
I'm just naming guys I like because then I don't have to talk. I can just show you guys. I like Johnson. Johnson sees a ton
Okay.
of targets.
What is Cooks at for targets and stuff just to see? Because it does match our games that we've been stacking if we want to just go a huge stack on that game.
Oh, I didn't realize you were on the whole day slate.
Oh, I am I can still put this lineup in the rate slate. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, we just got then we can't use Deontay because they're the Sunday night game.
Yeah,
Who?
let's just show what Brandon Cooks targets and stuff have been at.
Brandon Cooks has been a beast. I think Cooper or Ayuk though would be the choice here.
I the only reason why I say Cooks is because it matches our other games.
Now we're
Cooper
kind
for
of
me.
full game stacking that Houston Vegas, which isn't a horrible thing, but I'm not sure I want it. Like so,
No,
like,
I
with
get
that
it.
line now, we'd be full game stacking Houston Vegas plus another real 3-man stack of the Seattle Charger game with a one-off Amari Cooper and a one-off Derrick Henry. Actually, that's not horrible.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
That's not horrible. I actually don't mind that. The more I think about it, if it makes me kind of uncomfortable, we can probably win some money with it.
I gotta see what this would look like. You guys want to do a thought exercise with me?
What's up? Let's see.
I've been thinking. Now, you guys should know I work 4 shifts today, so I'm a little delirious. But so I was listening to Jam to Win. He was talking about at 1 Week Fantasy. He has this like hippie guy that worked for him, and that guy really believes in Friday nights. He really believes in like going in a quiet room and meditating, and he thinks about DFS when he meditates, like purposely. Like he's not fucking around. This guy is what this guy does, and he just lets names kind of filter through his brain. And so I tried this today, and I'm like, what is the 2 cheap tight ends that actually should see? This isn't just like, oh, I'm gonna play Auden and Dolchich. Like we can play whatever cheap tight ends you think are gonna see targets, but they have to be under 3K. So these were mine. What do you think this lineup would look like if we built it up from here?
Ugh,
Ugly.
Yeah, like we're giving up our flex for guys with not a lot of great ceiling potential.
Okay, so
but they are great floor and values. So
I love it.
Like I know we're gonna get a lot. Like I'm trying to think. Like we're gonna get if we go that and that, we can clearly jam in a top price running back and an Adams and another good receiver.
Logan,
and
if
like
you're gonna do this, get crazy. Put in Wandell too. Like, if you're gonna do it,
like at that point, like at this point, let's build one that is like the literal scrubs and dubs lineup that you can do. So now you've got a value wide receiver. Let's even do it more. Defense. Either play the Seahawks or play the Lions or the Jets or whatever, something 2,600 or lower.
Okay. We'll play the Lions defense. Dak Prescott coming back from injury. Who knows? They sack him once. Cooper Rush did not look good. What if he's forced back into action?
Okay, so we've now jammed in a crap ton of value plays.
I want Adams and Henry in this line.
I was about to say, yeah. Can we fit Henry? Can we fit now? Just throw those guys in. Throw in Henry and Adams, and then we'll see what fits.
Yeah, I just want to see what this looks like because, and then
we'll build it you way you like. Now we'll throw in Henry, throw in Adams, and then we'll try to put a stack in there because we'll have a quarterback and a wide receiver spot.
I would go Swift. I would go Swift over Henry in this lineup, but that would just be me.
I'm still not sure Swift plays, but I think he will.
What makes sense?
Okay, so now you have 7,800 for a quarterback and a wide receiver. Like
Jason Burrow?
I was about to say, is Burrow 7,200? Like, what's Burrow's price? I see Chase is 8,200. What's Burrow?
I think he'd have to be 7,600.
Burrow's 6,900. You can do Chase Burrow.
What about this? I like this better.
Mahomes Samuel? But you don't have
No,
quarterback
because
bringing
you have
anything
nothing.
with,
Now
yeah.
you have naked Mahomes, and I don't see Mahomes rushing touchdowns coming. But
Yeah.
like, you could go Burrow Chase. You could definitely go Burrow Chase. You have the money to go Burrow Chase, and then you could
I'm
get
not-
off of something else.
I don't. I
You
don't
go
like
Burrow
Burrow.
Chase, and then get off of one of your values, whether it's Wandale or Etienne.
Yeah. I would go Herbert or Allen probably if I actually.
Oh,
go
I don't
first.
like Allen off an injury.
Yeah, again, I'm not huge on Allen this week. I really am not. Even
Okay,
if he
well,
plays, I see him being the decoy this week.
What if we do this? Because there's a chance that Adam or Andrews doesn't play, right? And so no one's gonna go with Lamar because the stack isn't obvious. And then we just go naked Lamar, and then you have 7,600. You can basically put any wide receiver you want.
Well, at that point, just play Debo.
Yeah, like Debo's the best. Debo or St. Brown are the best plays at that point.
Right. It's not. The problem is the correlation. It doesn't.
Oh yeah,
correlate.
no, it doesn't correlate.
No, yeah, there's. I mean, the only correlation you have is you have the Etienne Robinson. You have a bunch of value.
Who's your second favorite running back? Because that's the thing is I don't think people are going to pay up for running back. So is there another running back we can get?
Another pay up and then another cheap receiver.
Yeah.
We could do Eckler or Chubb.
I would say Barkley.
But we already got Robinson.
Well, then maybe we make it a Daniel Jones stack.
Yeah.
Like you could do that now. Off of chat now, like you could go Eckler to Barkley, and then go Lamar to Daniel Jones, and then see where we're at with our last wide receiver slot.
I like it.
Like if you're gonna get crazy, you might as well just commit to it.
Yeah, it's a thought exercise. We started with all of the value we could throw in there, and then we're trying to jam in the plays we like. So
8K?
like, you have 8,000.
Yep.
So you can't play Chase. Tyreek is on Sunday night. So like again,
okay, hold on.
Debo or St. Brown.
Hold on though. What if? Yeah, no, it really is.
Like we could do St. Brown correlated with the Lions defense, and then
You could play Tyreek with well, no, you can't, but because I'm in the wrong context, my fault. Because this would go in the main.
Why is Pittman so high? Ugh.
He's just been consistent. When he plays, he gets consistent stuff. He's the number one wide receiver. Matt Ryan will throw to him. Like that's what it is.
What if we split the difference and we got off of Robinson though?
Well,
and then you have 6,200 for two wide receivers.
I would still want to try to get a Giants wide receiver to go with Daniel Jones and Barkley.
Okay, well, Robinson would be my number one. In fact,
yeah,
I think Robinson. I think
Robinson is one of the value guys with Dulcich and Moreau is a crux of this. It's like, I don't think we change those. If anything, we try to fit the right So yeah, $8K for a wide receiver.
It would be
if anything, if now I would almost want to go down from Henry so that we could play Chase.
Why don't we just?
We don't have enough. You have to do the Lions. We couldn't go any cheaper. So I think what you'd have to do then is we can't do Henry. Now we're gonna have to do an 8. We have to do Chubb or something as our pay up running back, and then we can still do Chase and Adams.
What about
still do Barkley? We have to go to 8K or lower. So we're looking at Chubb. We're looking at Fournette. We're looking at Aaron Jones. Mixing but then we have money to spend to play around with.
Yeah. You could go Swift and just hope he plays.
Now you have. Well, again, at Swift, if we had the Lions defense, that would be good like we did. But now we have a lot of money to pay up somewhere. And it's okay, so we see we can jam in a lot of really good plays in a solid stack, and have money where we don't need those 2 tight ends.
So
It's like now, like we keep leaving ourselves with like $1,000 where it's like, well, now I just need to not play Dulcich or Moreau and play a $3,800 wide receiver or something.
Right. Well, why don't we just play Ripon then? You already have that correlation.
What correlate like for
You
just the
have
Dulcich one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it Y or Y?
Oh, it is wide. There it is. Because then
I hate this lineup so much.
And there's money on the table to like do stuff like again, like what?
Because then here it is.
Oh, now you do go to Ripon, and now you can just play Judy with it. And now you got the double stack.
Now we're dancing, boys. Now we're dancing.
It's still ugly.
Yeah, it's still absolutely horrible. Like it's not a good looking. Like I mean, is it checking boxes? Do you have a double stack? Yes. Do we have a mini correlation with our running back and defense? Yes. Are we jamming in like Devontae Adams, our favorite wide receiver?
No.
Oh God, I'm choking on how actually good and bad this lineup is.
No. Here's what it is.
I'm trying to choke this lineup down because it is good, but
Go.
it's like it's your last meal. You're trying to choke it down, but you know you're gonna die. Oh my God.
I got a better play. We play Pierce instead of Swift.
I mean,
and now you don't have
better.
to play the Lions. Well, I mean, it's better now. You don't have to play the Lions defense.
Now we don't play the Lions defense. We get up to the Jets defense. Well, we can't play the Jets. We play Denver.
No, you can play. I mean, yeah, not against your Denver stack, but you could play the Niners against Mahomes.
Yeah, I like that.
There's a good defense no one's going to play. Mahomes is going to throw the ball, so he might throw interceptions.
Dude, I've won so much off of prop bets, and NBA's been great to me. I'm putting this in a lot. This is a good lineup.
Tatum just diced the game.
That's fine because I saw Cole Anthony was killing it.
Tatum has 37 tonight.
You know what?
42 42 fantasy points for Derek White. Holy fuck, dude!
Hold on.
Why are they using him so much? Jesus.
Hold on though. Green has 27 at halftime, and the center that you told me to play, Gov, is not even 1% owned. He has 11 points at halftime. What's his ownership in your contest?
No idea. I'm looking at DK Live.
He's less than 1% in my contest, dude. And he already has 11.
Sengun's at 14, and Guzman is at what, 11? Or what'd you say?
He's at 11 right now, but he's less than 1% owned.
Yeah, so if he can get into the 20s, he'll be really helpful.
And Green's almost at 30.
Man, Paolo started doing 21, 5 and 2, 30 minutes for him. Like, he's solid.
Inefficient, but yeah.
Yeah, but rookies can be inefficient. Like, it's going to happen.
All right, so there's some NBA primer for you guys. We do have a comment. Do you guys want to do that before we close up?
Yep.
Sure, let me look.
Well, it's just
it's Hustle. Yeah.
Shut us up. Hustle, tell me how nasty this lineup is if you're still here, brother. Tell me how nasty. He left. This line made him lose. He said no. Look, normally I would say this is a bad idea. But we've seen Foster Murray.
It's awful, Logan. Don't talk yourself into it.
It's a horrible lineup. You tried to play it. You tried to build every rule that makes it seem good. It's got correlation. It's got all the stuff. Except that it's freaking Brian Redmond.
Greg was the number 1 tight end coming out of the draft class. He was seen as the best pass catching tight end to come out of this draft class. Had super athletic talent. And then Foster, we've seen Foster basically when
we got a response from Hustle.
Yeah, which is why I'm playing it, my man. Which is why I'm playing it, brother.
You
Logan,
can play. You play
this
the
is
like
like-
this was your thought exercise to build the double tight end ripping lineup. So like you can play it if you want. I am your scrubs and duds is all on you.
Here's the thing: is I'm already playing Rippin in a lineup, anyways, in a different lineup. And here's the thing: me and Gove grinded basketball, as you guys heard. We have a center right now that has 11 points in halftime. That's not even 1% on. I'm gonna make my money back just on that basket alone. So we're all set. I mean, we're all good.
Logan, this lineup is like putting a dog on a leash, but not connecting it to anything and hoping that it just doesn't realize and doesn't run off because he's scared of getting yanked by the leash.
No, it's correlated, Donnie. Don't tell me it's not linked together. It's correlated all over the place.
It's fine, but it's still a mess. Like, the dog can think it's leashed up, but that doesn't make it work.
Hey, who let the dogs out is what I say. And speaking of letting out, I'm going to let the classroom out. We went long enough. Thanks to the guys for joining me. This lineup and the lineup we built will definitely go into fake contests. We've had a good week. We've had some fun with you guys. Take care. Be safe. Enjoy yourself. Like, that's the fun part. We ended with some fun. Have some fun this week. You know, have your processes. Be smart with your money, but have some fun. Enjoy yourself. Have a good one, guys. Take care.
Peace out, everyone.